Here are today's top stories. The Feast of the Black Nazarene closes with a peaceful end of the Traslasyon. A lawmaker endorses a measure ensuring the use of nuclear energy to boost technology and growth. Local officials in Cebu warn against swimming in waters allegedly contaminated by hospital wastes. And Pangasinan honors its World War II veterans in commemoration of the Lingayen Gulf landings.
Good day, I'm Rom Dulfo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. This year's Traslasyon ended peacefully with about 1.4 million devotees accompanying the Black Nazarene. The procession from Quirino Grandstand to Quiapo Church this year took 21 hours. Benj Bondok has a story.
The Traslasyon ended generally peaceful past 2 a.m. Thursday. Almost 1.4 million devotees participated in the procession from the time the image left Quirino Grandstand Wednesday morning. A highlight of the Traslasyon was the Dungaw, the visitation of the Black Nazarene outside the San Sebastian Church to be met by his mother, the Lady of Mount Carmel. The procession was marked throughout by throngs of people rushing to touch or wipe their towels and handkerchiefs on the image, believing that doing so will grant miracles. After 21 hours on the streets, the andas of the Black Nazarene was wheeled into the Quiapo Church amid a sea of chanting devotees. There were no major untoward incidents during the Traslasyon. Over 1,000 devotees sought various medical treatment and services. These include major cases of wounds and other injuries, difficulty in breathing, dizziness and body weakness, hypertension, fracture, and chest pains. Nearly 200 persons also sought psychosocial support. Meanwhile, sweepers from the MMDA, DPWH, and the city government of Manila immediately swooped down on piles of garbage carelessly left behind by irresponsible devotees in the procession route. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondok.
President Duterte ensures that communist rebels will never hold control over the Philippines. The president says he is controlling his temper on using the armed forces to combat the communist rebels as he considers the situation of the group's hostages. He also says the government is already doing the CPP-NPA's call for land reform, but does it without media publicity, and that he is leaving a small window for the communist rebels to resume with peace negotiations. The CPP-NPA had been allegedly involved in mass murders, extortion, and violation of indigenous people's rights. The Armed Forces of the Philippines shrugs off claims that the government and the military cannot neutralize the New People's Army. AFP Public Affairs Chief Noel De Toyato says the claims made by Communist Party of the Philippines founder Jose Maria Sison shows he does not want to become irrelevant. Earlier, Sison said the government's reset of the deadline to neutralize the NPA by another 3 years will fail as communist fighters intensify tactical offensives and mass work. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says the ongoing localized peace talks are proving to be successful despite not being the kind of negotiations that Sison desires. The defense chief says the rebels are just taking advantage of the peace talks to push through with their sinister activities. The House approved on second reading House Bill 8733, which regulates the use of nuclear energy. The House bill seeks to establish a comprehensive nuclear regulatory framework and create the Philippine Nuclear Regulatory Commission, or PNRC. Albay Congressman Joey Salceda says the commission aims to strengthen science and technology and boost industrial growth through the control of peaceful uses and application of nuclear energy. It will be tasked to harmonize the country's nuclear regulatory structure with other countries, especially in the Asia-Pacific region, and will exercise authority over all aspects of safety, security, and safeguards involving nuclear and other radioactive materials, facilities, and radiation regenerating equipment. The Philippine Navy is set to receive new vehicles this year, and the LTFRB fires an employee for accepting bribes. More on these and other news around the metro from Benj Bondok.
The Philippine Navy is expected to receive in March its first 2 anti-submarine helicopters and 4 out of 8 amphibious assault vehicles it has ordered for the Marine Corps. The Navy acquired the Augusta Westland AW-159 Wildcat anti-submarine helicopter worth 5.4 billion pesos, and the 8 AAVs acquired from Hanwha Techwin for 2.42 billion pesos. The new vehicles will boost the Marine Corps' underwater and sea-based capabilities. Meanwhile, the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board sacked an employee for accepting bribes. Richard Valleser, assigned with the message center of the LTFRB, was reported for allegedly receiving a total of 60,000 pesos in exchange for expediting a PUV franchise application. More than 100 employees of the LTFRB that were found engaged in corruption were terminated or resigned since Transportation Secretary Arthur Togade took over the board in 2016. In other news, the death toll in the onslaught of Tropical Depression Usman has climbed to 140. Fatalities are from Mimaropa, Bicol, and Eastern Visayas. 28 are still reported missing and 105 are injured. Damage to infrastructure and agriculture in Calabarzon, Mimaropa, Bicol, and Eastern Visayas is placed at 5.4 billion pesos. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
Still to come, local officials in Cebu warn against swimming in waters allegedly contaminated by hospital wastes. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Partner with the Philippines. Backed by strong macroeconomic fundamentals, the country is the 10th fastest growing economy in the world and one of the fastest growing economies in Asia. With a multi-billion infrastructure program, state-of-the-art capabilities using leading-edge technology, artificial intelligence, and complemented by a highly skilled workforce. All these at competitive operational costs.
Filipinos are hardworking, passionate, flexible, adaptive, and quick thinker to deal with problems immediately.
Filipino workforce is vital, positive thinking, and open mind. Marine transportation innovation such as port facility, road networks are essential so that economic growth will be able to become more rapid.
Philippines is located at the center of ASEAN countries. From the geopolitics view, we can cover many main cities of ASEAN countries.
The Filipinos have a great work ethic and their command of English is exceptional. They can weather even challenges with resilience which is world-class.
We utilize high-tech machinery and robotics in our production right here in the Philippines. And the Filipinos easily adapt to these innovations.
World-class Filipino talent is likewise being tapped as a highly viable investment sector for innovation and startups.
We stand out as far as animation is concerned. They are quite amazed at how our artists are good in their craft. The artists, their rates are also competitive. We are able to compete from a price standpoint.
The Philippines is a fertile ground for investments due to its rich biodiversity and abundant natural resources.
The Philippines is thriving, and there is a potential for it to continue growing. There's a perspective for more growth to happen. It's one of the fastest growing economies, not just in Asia, but in the world.
These companies are expanding their businesses here in the Philippines. Projected by HSBC to be the 16th largest economy in the world by 2050. Viable investment area, industrial peace, state-of-the-art technology, a skilled workforce, creative, innovative. Your gateway to the ASEAN region and to the world. Partner with the Philippines.
Three re-electionist senators welcomed the results of the latest Pulse Asia survey for the May elections. Senator Grace Poe, who once again topped the most recent senatorial survey, says she is humbled by the unwavering support of Filipinos. She says this will serve both as an inspiration and challenge for her to continue working hard. Fellow re-electionist Senator Cynthia Villar placed second. Senator Sonny Angara, who placed third in the survey, says he was grateful and very thankful for the latest results. Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III, who is sixth place, says he is glad to be in the top rankings despite having no television advertisement at the moment. Other candidates who made it to the top 12 are Taguig Representative Pia Cayetano, former Senator Lito Lapid, Senator Nancy Binay, former Senator Serge Esmania, former Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr., Ilocos Norte Governor Aimee Marcos, former Senator Jinggoy Estrada, and former Police Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa. Upcoming telco player Miss Latel is looking to make partners in the telco industry as it targets the construction of about 10,000 cell sites around the country. More on this from Miguel Hill.
Miss Latel Consortium is eyeing to install some 10,000 cell sites within the country in the next 7 years. The company says it will establish partnerships with various stakeholders in the telco industry to provide better quality of communication services to consumers. The consortium is likewise open to share their cell tower facilities with its competitors PLDT and Globe Telecom to improve the delivery of internet and other telco services in the country. Miss Latel spokesperson Adel Tamano says Miss Latel's initiative to build cell sites in the country would promote further competition in the industry. The Department of Information and Communications Technology is currently crafting a policy that will allow the establishment of tower companies that will build and deploy cell sites and other facilities that will be leased to telco firms. The Philippines currently has 16,000 cell sites against 67 million internet users, making it the lowest cell density in Asia. The lack of cell towers has been identified as one of the barriers that result in slow and costly internet services in the country. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
The drop in international petroleum prices is seen to give the Philippine peso some lift during the year's first semester. But Fitch Solutions expects the peso to be in depreciation mode by end of 2019. Amid the slowdown of inflation in the last 2 months of last year, Fitch Solutions still forecasts a 50 basis points increase in the BSP's key rates this year. It cited the political uncertainties as another factor that is disadvantageous to the peso, citing President Duterte's preference towards China and Chinese investors compared to Western nations. However, it expects the weakness to be relatively modest as compared with 2018, helped by the decline in oil prices and growing headwinds to broad dollar strength. To date, the local currency is trading at the 52 level against the US dollar. Fishermen and tourists in Lapu-Lapu, Cebu are cautioned against going near the shores of Barangay Ibo, where hospital wastes were found floating. The hospital wastes were discovered when netizens posted on social media photos of them floating along the shores of Barangay Ibo. The wastes bore the names of both Chonghua Hospital and Ignacio Cortez General Hospital in Mandaue. The two hospitals have received the show cause order from the city attorney's office. Meantime, the Environmental Management Bureau sent a team to coordinate with the city officials in cleaning up the shores. The Department of Health notes that hospitals have been contracting third-party firms for their waste disposal. Authorities released 7 Vietnamese fishermen caught fishing in the Calayan group of islands. Meanwhile, local officials in Cebu respond to the travel warning from the UK. More on these stories from the provinces. From Janice Cave.
In Cagayan, local authorities released 7 Vietnamese fishermen after they paid a 300,000 peso compromise fine to settle their administrative case. The fishermen were charged before the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources after they were caught fishing on the Lupiri Island of the Calayan group of islands. BFAR says the Vietnamese fishing vessel will be forfeited in favor of the government and will be used for research purposes. In Cebu, local authorities assured that the province remains safe for tourists following the travel advisory issued by the United Kingdom against traveling to Mindanao and southern Cebu. The police urges the public to stay vigilant from threats, especially during Sinulog and upcoming summer season. In Maguindanao, soldiers deactivated a powerful improvised explosive device planted at a road where Governor Esmael Mangudadatu was about to pass. The governor and his brother Freddy, mayor of Magudadatu town, were on their way to Rahobuayan when civilians found the improvised explosive device on the roadside. Mangudadatu, who is running for the House of Representatives, says he has been receiving information about possible roadside bombing whenever he attends to activities in the province. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Up next, tourism stakeholders support the planned rehabilitation of Manila Bay. Pangasinan honors its World War II veterans in commemoration of the Lingayen Gulf landings. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders. The Philippine Travel Agencies Association has expressed support for the government's plan to rehabilitate Manila Bay. PTAA President Richie Tuanyo says they support any move to improve tourism and the welfare of tourists, and that the rehabilitation of Manila Bay will be successful, similar to what happened in Boracay. He says they plan to meet with allied hotel members once details are completed so they could communicate their comments and feedbacks to concerned agencies. Starting January 27, the Duterte administration will begin the rehabilitation activities in Manila Bay with an allotted 47 billion peso fund. The administration seeks to impose the same political will in ridding pollution that plagued Manila Bay's shoreline. In our foreign news, members of parliament have forced UK Prime Minister Theresa May to come up with a Plan B on Brexit if her deal is defeated in Parliament Tuesday next week. With less than 3 months before Britain is due to leave the EU, Parliament has begun a battle over May's Brexit plan. May has refused to retreat from her unpopular deal. Back in December, May decided not to go ahead with the Commons vote, citing that the deal on exit terms she had agreed with Brussels would not clear the Parliament. With May's loss, the Commons will have a chance to vote on alternative measures, including a further referendum. After months of speculations, Chris Chu confirmed on social media that he is closing his basketball career. Chu confirmed that he thought about retirement as early as last season's Commissioner's Cup, but eventually opted to play in the Governor's Cup. In what would be the final game of his career, Chu dropped 30 points, his first and only 30-point game ever, to cap a career-high season. Chu, the 7th pick of the 2012 PBA draft, played with the Walcott franchise for all of his 6 seasons in the league, winning 1 championship. World War II veterans of Pangasinan are honored through a commemorative program and medical mission for them and their family members. Janice Cave has a story.
The provincial government of Pangasinan honored its World War II veterans with a medical mission for them and their family members. This was part of the commemoration of the 74th Lingayen Gulf Landings and 12th Pangasinan Veterans Day. The program was attended by the living veterans and their family members, including families of deceased veterans. Governor Amado Espino III emphasized the importance of honoring them while they were still living as their number decreased each year. Maguindanao Representative Zajid Mangudadato is the guest of honor and speaker during the event. He donated 200,000 pesos for the medical expenses of the living war veterans. The law increasing the pension of war veterans from 5,000 pesos to 20,000 pesos was signed by President Rodrigo Duterte last week. There are also plans to increase the budget for the veterans' pension to ensure that no veteran will pay for his own medicine. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's top stories.
The Feast of the Black Nazarene closes with a peaceful end of the traslasyon. A lawmaker endorses a measure ensuring the use of nuclear energy to boost technology and growth. Local officials in Cebu warn against swimming in waters allegedly contaminated by hospital wastes. And Pangasinan honors its World War II veterans in commemoration of the Lingayen Gulf landings.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Rom Dulfo. Good day.